Today we're digging into geothermal energy in the Klamath Basin. Let's get into it. Thanks for joining me. I'm Darlene Humphreys. I recently had the opportunity to preview a property for a prospective buyer, and doing research on the property, I looked at the well log and saw that in May of 1994, when this well was drilled, which was one of our coldest, snowiest winters they'd had in the basin in a long time, the well water is at 80 degrees. So obviously this house was in a pocket of geothermal activity, because typically our well logs are 50 degrees, in the 50s, sometimes in the low 60s, but 80 degrees is a warm well. Not enough to heat your house or heat your hot water and all the stuff that a hot geo well would do, but it's certainly enough to heat a greenhouse or be a supplemental source of heat. So it was intriguing to find out where I was, which was not in town at all, to find a well that was at 80 degrees. So the geology behind this is we're on the Cascade Volcanic Arc, and there's crevices and fault lines and stuff where the geo follows that fault line, and you'll find pockets of geothermal activity out away from the traditional areas, which is downtown Klamath Falls, which is one of the oldest geothermal municipal heating districts in the country. And OIT is on geothermal. There's 3 hot production wells at OIT, and that does a lot of the utility production for OIT. And there's various areas in town like Hot Springs that have a lot of geo wells. OIT in the 90s, I want to say, did a census of the geo wells in Hot Springs, and sometimes when you pull a preliminary title report, when you have a property under contract, you'll get the geo log where it'll say the geothermal well is at this number of feet. It was tested at 189 degrees, and so that's kind of an interesting piece of trivia. And years ago, I was showing property. It was Thanksgiving weekend. It was so cold and snowy, and this was during the crisis time where there was a lot of foreclosures, and there was a lot of the houses had been winterized, they were vacant, and the heat wasn't on, and so we were like going from house to house, and it was freezing. So we went in this one house that had geothermal, and the geothermal was running, and so it was probably 80 degrees in there. It was glorious. We stood, and it had old wood windows, and you'll find that a lot in Hot Springs. They have free heat. They don't have to get triple pane vinyl windows. With old wood windows, that house was just, that geo well was cranking, and I swear that it was probably 80 degrees in that house. And the people I was showing it to hated the house, but we just stood in there and warmed up and talked and hung out because it was so nice, because it was so warm in that house. So anyways, back to geothermal. People that know downtown about geothermal, and if you don't know about geothermal, there's a bunch of information online about how it all works and how the systems work, and if it's a closed loop system or an open loop system. That's a way beyond my pay grade. And the guys that tell you and that work on those systems, once you get it running, don't fuss with it. Don't fuss with it. Just leave it do its thing. Unless you have a problem, let it go. And so there was a lot of geo in the area, but people will sometimes call me and say, I want a house with the geothermal well, and I want to live in running water. It doesn't work that way. Geothermal does not go where you want it to. It goes where it wants to, and you have to find the house that has geothermal, and it's pretty limited as to where it exists. But every once in a while, especially if you're out in the nether regions, you might pull up a well log and go, oh, I'm sitting in a little pocket of geothermal. Bear in mind, it might not be enough to heat your house, but it's something you could certainly utilize. So if you are looking in the Klamath Basin and you're interested in an alternative energy source, you might stumble across a house that has either its own geothermal well, or possibly has a possibility to have a geothermal well, or it has a hot enough domestic well where you could utilize this as a supplemental heat source for your house. And that's a cool piece of what makes this area unique. You're sitting on top of a natural resource that most areas do not have. Thanks for joining me.